I was crazy for starting the first Persian Tiles blanket, the crazy got crazier and I started a second Persian Tiles blanket. Hey, it's Tammy, Crafty Mompreneur. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, well, welcome back. Today is episode 2 of my series that I started, I guess it's been about 2 weeks now, of me crocheting the Persian Tiles crochet blanket. Now, in the first episode, I did share with you my color choices, and there were some mixed reviews on the colors that I selected. But I will say that the reason I picked the colors I picked is because I felt like those were the best colors that would lend themselves to the colors that I already had in my house. I envisioned this blanket as being like a throw blanket in our living room. That was primarily the reason for the color palette that I selected. At the end of the day, while I am a people pleaser to the core, but this project is one for me, and mostly I crochet like plushies and things like that. And so if I have a project that I'm working on, then I'm gonna pick like the colors that I like, So do I sometimes wonder if I pick the right ones? Yes. Okay. Like we all second guess our choices sometimes. But in the end, I'm happy with what colors I selected, and we are just rolling with the color palette that I talked about in the first video. Now, this is a big project, and this is gonna take a while. Because this isn't the only crochet project. As you guys know, if you follow my channel, this isn't the only crochet thing that I'm going to be working on. I have market season coming up, and I primarily crochet plushies for that. And so this is just when I just want to chill and not, create plushies, I'm going to be picking up this project. And ideally, I'd like to get some work done on it every single week. And then I'll be sharing the results with you guys every couple weeks to show you the progress. And this is mainly because I want to keep myself on task and, working on it and not just put it in a bag somewhere and forget about it. So if I know I'm doing a series and I want to update you guys, that's going to kind of make me more likely to work on it. You know what I mean? Like I'm all about like public accountability. So this is my way of being accountable to getting the blanket and getting the project done. What we're going to do in this video is I'm going to show you the progress that I've made on the blanket so far. And as a reminder, I'm not doing the color palette that it suggests, nor am I doing the same pattern. I'm actually doing random color selection for each of the tiles and the granny squares, which is making it more fun to see how each square comes out. So every week that I post one of these videos, you're going to see different stuff. So that's kind of exciting. And that's what we're going to do. But as I was making these tiles and these squares, I got the itch to try another color combination. And this is not to like appease anyone or to change my color palette at all, because I'm still dialed in to the color palette that I selected. But I saw somewhere, I think in the Persian Tiles group, where they picked all holiday colors. And so I was like looking at all my yarn, and I have got a lot of the Hobby Lobby I Love This yarn. So I thought, yeah, maybe I will have another Persian Tiles blanket going at the same time, just when I want to mix it up and I'm tired of seeing the same colors over and over again. So that's what I did. I started a second Persian Tiles blanket. I know, I'm crazy. So I'm going to share with you that progress I've made on that one as well. So this is going to be like probably a 6-month project of Persian Tiles, and probably by the end of 6 months, hopefully I'll have 2 blankets out of it, and I will probably be really sick of Persian Tiles. But nonetheless, we are going to get into the progress I've made for episode 2 of my Persian Tiles blanket. Okay, so as a reminder, this is the color palette. I actually have to go buy more of one color because I didn't realize that I was so low on it. But here is my colors. Hopefully this light is good enough. I'm actually almost out of the orange. So I do have to go, and this one was the one that some people did not like. But I was actually looking on a color wheel to see like how these, if these colors really like go together, because you know how you start, you second guess yourself. And this and teal are kind of like opposite sides of the color wheel. But that's my color palette. And my first 2 squares that I showed you in my first video were these 2. And unfortunately, these 2 are no good. And why, you ask? Because I used the wrong hook size. I could have frogged them, right? I could have, but I had already woven in all my ends. And I was like, you know what? I'm sure I can come up with some little project to do with these 2 granny squares. So these were, I guess, just a little trial and error. Because when I went ahead and I made them with the right hook size, you can definitely see they are bigger. And so I did not want to have to mess with that. See how much bigger they are? Like if I measure up the corners, like that's how much bigger it is. And I will tell you that this is a very in-depth, and the pattern is very well explained, but you definitely have to keep track of what hook size you're using and when it tells you to change hook sizes. Because you start this with like a smaller hook size, and then for these outer edges, you move to the bigger hook size. And I will tell you, I was completely like confused and stuff when I first started, because in the pattern, and I can't remember if I talked about this in the first video, but so it has you using an E and a G, which is a 4mm and a 3.5mm. But I got all confused about what was what, and I ended up using an actual 5mm for my G or something like that. I don't remember. I got all confused. But these are the ones. These are clover hooks, and these are the ones I'm using. And I just have to pay attention to the E and the G, because if I use the 4 and the 4mm, and I just have to, like, that's how I've had to like keep myself on track. Like I said, these are out. These don't count towards the blanket total, nothing. These are into the granny square abyss. Since my last video, I did get look at me. I did get 3 additional squares made. Wait a second. I'm missing one. Hold on. Oh, I gotta go get one. Hold on. Okay, so I did get 3 more squares completed. So these are, the right size with the right hook size. I'm doing the random color draw from this little bowl of like the colors. Oh, that's my needle. So I randomly pick the colors, and this is how they've come out. All 3 different. Then I have a 4th one, and I'm making an executive decision. You guys like my executive decisions. I toyed around with the idea of making the last outside color all of the same. And then I just decided that I'm not going to do that, and I'm just going to keep them all random, and we're just going to go with it. However, my 4th granny square was this, and I absolutely hate how the white looks on the outside. So thankfully, I have not weaved in the ends on this one. These are definitely good to go, all done. Just need to be blocked, maybe. I don't even know if we have to block them, but we'll get to that when we get to the end. I do not like the way this looks. So what I'm gonna do right now with you guys is I'm gonna fix this one, and we are going to just reverse out the white and the brown. And then I'll show you what it looks like, because here is the before, and we'll just rip this out right now, right together, because I don't like it. Like if you look at how these look with the white on the inside, I feel like it just looks so much better. And so that's going to be my only stipulation, is they can't end in white. And maybe white will be the thing that I join them with or something. But we'll just have to see when we get there, because I finished this one and I was like, I do not like it. Don't like it. So we're going to just take it out and reverse the two colors. So where there's brown, it'll kind of look like this one with the white X's, which I'm fine with having, you know, the same color of X's on some of them. But goodbye, white. Maybe not. I have to undo the knot. I can't even get it to come out. I guess that's a good thing, maybe? I don't know. Okay, here. Now we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it out. Somehow, some way. Probably should have brought my glasses up, but I think we're getting there. It'll be so satisfying when it starts to unravel. Okay, here we go. Goodbye. And now we will say goodbye to the brown. Okay, now off camera, I'm gonna just re-add those in the opposite order. And when I get done, I will show you what this next square looks like. You know, I literally have one stitch left and I ran out of yarn. So I am going to just do the magic knot, and how I do it is I just tie one of the ends to the string, just like that, and then you take this one and you tie it around the other end like this. I think it's called a magic knot, I think. So basically you're tying them together. This is not a very good demonstration. There's tons of tutorials out there. But what happens is you're tying like the end to this side and the end of this one to this side. And then what you do is it creates this knot. And then then you can trim these like really close. And it's just a tiny little knot that lengthens your yarn. So I'm gonna do that with this one because it's at the very end and it's not that serious. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that off. Let's see. This is really a fun way to show you what to do, right? Okay. Let me see how that works. As I'm holding like up here. All right, so here comes that knot. Right there. So it's literally like right there. And then I'm just gonna fasten this off, and then I will add the brown around the outside, and I'll be right back. When you know, I literally have one stitch left and I ran out of yarn. So I am going to just do the magic knot, and how I do it is I just tie one of the ends to the string, just like that, and then you take this one and you tie it around the other end like this. I think it's called a magic knot, I think. So basically you're tying them together. This is not a very good demonstration. There's tons of tutorials out there. But what happens is you're tying like the end to this side and the end of this one to this side. And then what you do is it creates this knot. And then then you can trim these like really close. And it's just a tiny little knot that lengthens your yarn. So I'm gonna do that with this one because it's at the very end and it's not that serious. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that off. See, let's see. This is really a fun way to show you what to do, right? Okay. Let me see how that works. As I'm holding it, I'm holding like up here. Ah. All right, so here comes that knot. Right there. So it's literally like right there. And then I'm just gonna fasten this off, and then I will add the brown around the outside, and I'll be right back. I had this much brown left from adding the brown to the outside. And here is what it looks like now. Let's see. I don't know, I feel like this looks much better than having the white on the outside. So that is my one stipulation as I am picking yarn out of my little jar. So that is the 4 now that we have all done. I have a pink one, I have pink X's, teal X's, and I have white X's. So what I thought would be kind of fun is that in this video, every time I post a video, we will draw colors together for one of the squares, and then you can always come back to the next video and see it all worked up. All right, so I have a little notebook here, and each episode we are going to pick the colors for one of the granny squares, like pick the order. My only stipulation is we have 5 more of these tiles of these granny squares to make, and I don't want the outside to be white, and I would prefer it if we didn't have duplicates of some of the colors. The least favorite color that you guys liked was orange, and then white. So orange and white are out for the exterior colors. So let's just see how it goes. Hopefully this works out. If I don't get orange in the first few, then I don't know what we'll do, but I have to put some parameters on this, okay? So here we go. First color is pink. Then we have dark teal, blue, orange, green, and then it has to go brown and white because we don't want white on the outside. So that's the color order here. Here we go. Ah! I'm gonna have to look at that. Well, it was a good thing I was recording because I got the colors written down. So we are good to go for that. And I guess the next thing that you guys want to see is the actual tiles that I got done, right? Oh, wait. I did also finish one of the half granny squares. These I have to make 12 of. So we could do an order pick of that also, but I think we'll just stick with the granny square and see how it goes. Now we will get to the big octagons part of the blanket. And you will be so proud of me that I made not 1, but I made 2 of the big octagons, and I have to make 16. So we still have a long ways to go. But here is the first one that I made. I really love how it turned out. And then the second one, and again, this was random. These were random. The people that don't like orange are not going to like this one, but this is the orange one. It is a little more orange than I would have liked, but I mean, when you see them together, I think it'll be fine. Like, it's all the same, like 7 colors, so it's gonna be fine. And then with these, I think I'm gonna just make sure that I have like 2 of each that are outlined in the same color. Because I am following the same, like when the pattern says to use a certain color, like it'll be the same. Like for example, the orange here, you use the orange in these spots too. So, and then like this one, the teal is here. So you use the teal up here. So that's my stipulation with these. Since I have 16 tiles, I want at least 2 of each of the colors. And then there'll just be 2 extra colors of whatever. And that's just, I think, how I'm going to do it. I don't know. As I get 1 of each color outlined, then I can start to play with kind of the layout and things like that. So that's the 2 that I got done. And you will notice I also weaved in the ends. Like, what? Who am I? Who am I really? But yeah, so I'm very proud of that I got that much done. But we still have a long ways to go. But it's okay though, because when I'm working on it, I really enjoy working on it. It's just making myself sit down and do it. Because I have so many other things like going on as well, but I am liking how it is turning out. So as I was working through all those colors, and making the 2 tiles and all the granny squares, I will say I got a little tired of working with the same colors. Even though like it's a different order and everything, I still had an itch to put together a color palette for kind of a Christmassy type blanket. Now, I'm not going to beat myself up if I can't get this one done before Christmas, because markets and busy and all of that. But I did want to get started on one for when I just wanted to work on some other colors. So I searched up like Pinterest and all kinds of other like places, and I came up and I found like a whole bunch of different color combinations. And here's some of the color combinations that I came across. The color palette that I liked the most was this one. And so I scoured my yarn and found a palette that I thought looked the closest to it. And I made 1 square, and then I started another, and then I started an octagon. But here is my Christmas Persian tile color scheme. This part right here, I will say, looks a little bit like a watermelon. It doesn't have pink in it, but I think the white next to the red kind of is giving pink vibes. But yeah, here is the square, and this of course is not done weaving in. And then the tile, this is as far as I've gotten on the Christmas tile. And again, I'm doing the same thing of randomizing the color order and doing it that way. So we will see how this one turns out. I am also probably going to just make sure that I don't outline them in white. So white just can't end up right here for this one. But yeah, this kind of looks like a peppermint. This part right here kind of looks like trees. But yeah, I'm excited to see this one complete, just to see like how it's gonna look. I mean, but every tile is gonna be different, so it doesn't really matter. But it has been a fun little acrylic yarn project, because I work with plushy like yarn so much that, you know, it kind of mixes it up a little bit to have a acrylic yarn project going on at the same time. So that's it. Before I close out this video, I do want to give a little shout out to those of you who have joined my YouTube membership. They are Lisa Burke, Valerie Holyfield, Renee Walker, Shannon H., Lori Cheney, Kayleen Colorcraft for the Soul and Frequency Balance is the name of her YouTube channel, Marie Crafting an Array, and Jennifer Payne, and Nessa. So welcome, you guys. And thank you so much for always being so supportive on my channel. I do hope that you've enjoyed kind of the sneak peeks of things that I'm working on, as well as some of the other little perks that you get for being a YouTube member. And I will leave the link to check it out to see what it's all about in the description box below. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh gosh. You'd think that I'd have this done by now.